Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're listening to our conversation today, please subscribe to the podcast and also give it a 5-star rating and leave a review. I would really appreciate it. Today's guest is an incredible recording artist. She is a singer, a songwriter, and a bassist. Her music was profiled in the Los Angeles Times, Parade, and Forbes Women, and she was also the tap dancer on I Can See Your Voice. Please help me welcome Heather Youmans.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me so much, Jacob.
Thank you. You're so welcome, Heather, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to speak with me.
Of course, these days we're spending a lot more time inside and at home. So this is just great to connect with somebody else, even if it is virtually, to talk about the show and what I'm up to. I've been singing a lot of holiday songs lately, and I've been putting them out there into the world just to spread a little bit of cheer because it's a different type of holiday that we're going through. And I think one thing's for sure, we all need a little bit more of music in our lives, just to get us through.
Especially going into and not just the holiday season, but going into 2021 and beyond.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think we're going to see a renaissance of music and theater and entertainment once we're, on our way out of this. And it's going to be a really beautiful time. And I'm an optimist. I always tell everybody I'm an eternal optimist. So that's just the way that I see things in the world. And whenever I'm sad or struggling with, everything that's going on, I just think of it that way, that, when we're through this, it's going to be this beautiful, glorious time. And we're going to be able to share in so much performance and art then.
I totally agree with you, Heather. I totally agree with you 1,000%. So when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve into the desire of pursuing a career in the recording industry?
So I come from a very, very musical family. My mom sings, my dad plays the drums. My brother is a saxophone player in the U.S. Army. And then I have another younger brother who also plays the saxophone. So growing up, there was music everywhere in our house. It was something that was very encouraged. I feel so lucky to have grown up in a family with parents that were like that and that supported my interests and saw them very early on and decided to put me in lessons and foster them. So when I was 2, 3, I would sing the books at story time instead of reading them. And I would just do these little things like make my mom pull over her car so I could go sing to the horses. Eventually, she just realized, this girl is a singer. And my mom is a singer too. So it's something that she noticed very easily. So she put me in vocal lessons when I was 7. I took from opera singers that toured in the Phantom of the Opera. It was wild. It was so serious. And then I ended up getting really interested in musical theater and pop music and studied that for, a while. I'm still studying it to this day. And eventually I was doing a lot of community theater in San Diego, and I auditioned for a professional theater production and I got it. I was 10 years old. And so that set me off on this really awesome journey of working in professional theater as a kid, playing all the kid roles in shows. I just met so many talented people that inspired me at such a young age. And then from there, it was theater that led me to contemporary music and to the recording world and pop music. I was in a adaptation of the 80s cult classic movie Teen Witch, and it was made into a musical. So I was in that, and I ended up meeting this incredible family that produced and supported my music through my teen years and put that out into the world. I was so sad to hear that Radio Disney is going away, because Radio Disney was one of the first stations to support my music as a teenager that I was putting out then. So, I had this crazy journey. I was so young. I followed some other interests at the same time and parallel path them. I was a journalist for the Los Angeles Times Media Group and the OC Register. I covered everything I love, which is music and dance and theater and just everything artistic. And that was kind of my my journalism path, if you will. And I got to talk to some of the most incredible musicians and performers that were my idols growing up. And I just felt so lucky. It was a really glorious time in my life. And I look back on it so fondly. And then I got into PR. And, ironically enough, I used to do PR for Fox movies and TV shows, a while ago, several years ago. And then I got this incredible opportunity at Fender Guitars. And so I do music PR and I get to work with these crazy rock stars that call my cell phone in the morning. And I'm like, wait a minute, am I just talking to like Andy Summers of the Police or Robbie Krieger from the Doors? It's just incredible. I'm just pinching myself every single day. But, during all of this, while I've had this career like in journalism and in the music business doing publicity, I'm an artist. I'm creating my own music. I'm posting content. I released a new song called Shine this year, and that was covered in Forbes Women and Parade magazine. And it's really just gone on to impact so many women around the world. And I'm just like amazed by the response.
All right. So who are your music heroes and how did they impact your sound?
So I'm very influenced by artists like Kelly Clarkson, Alanis Morissette, Pink. Joss Stone was one of the first artists to inspire me to sing pop music. I remember being in the car with my dad and he played me one of her songs and I looked to him and I said, I think I can do this. And up until that point, I had been singing classical music, musical theater. I had dabbled in some jazz, but it wasn't really until that moment when I heard Joss Stone sing that I knew that pop music could be for me. But I'm just inspired by so many incredible women in music. I'm also a big John Mayer fan as well. I love Amos Lee and Ray LaMontagne. I love a lot of singer-songwriters. And anything that's just kind of funky. I'm a tap dancer, so I'm a sucker for rhythm.
Awesome. So speaking of rhythm, you had the opportunity to open up for two music legends, Sting and the late Natalie Cole. So what were some of the lessons that you learned from them that helped you grow as a performer?
So it was a crazy opportunity. I was the opening soloist in a UNICEF benefit concert in Beverly Hills, and the headliners were Sting and Natalie Cole. And so I sang, I opened the entire event. That was pretty crazy. And then Sting and Natalie Cole came backstage. I got to meet them. I shook their hands. I told them how incredible I thought they were. Because at that time, when I was a teenager, I was listening to Sting and Natalie Cole because Sting is one of my dad's favorite artists. And my dad plays the drums. So, he just loves Stuart Copeland and the Police. And we would listen to all their records. Like he just popped the CD in the car. And then I was learning Natalie Cole songs too before I met her. So I was familiar with her body of work and was really inspired by that. It was just such a quick meeting though. So it's like, I wish I could have asked them like a million questions, but my jaw was like literally dropped. Like I was a teenager. So I was like frozen when I met them. 'Cause you're like, oh, what do I say? Like, I don't want to embarrass myself. It was just such an awesome night. I look back on that with like so much love and so much gratitude. And it's Sting. That's the reason that I play bass and sing, because I saw him sing and play bass that night. And I thought it was so inspiring. He's so talented. And it was another one of those moments where I looked at what he was doing on stage and I thought, I could get into that. I could do that. And so I did. I picked up the bass. It was within that year and started to learn how to sing and play at the same time with it. And it was this incredible little journey that's grown into something that I never could have imagined it would have turned out this way. And if Heather now told young Heather then, this is your journey, this is the path that you're going to take, I would have been just amazed, because it's hard when you're out in the industry and you're going through the day-to-day as a performer and you have your ups and downs. And sometimes you don't know if that's the end of the road for you or if you need to pursue something different, or, if the music world isn't meant for you, because it gets really discouraging, like, to be completely honest. I consider myself, at least for my age, like a long hauler, because I've been working in the music industry as a singer for 15 years. So to kind of put that together, I'm 28 now. So I was very young, and I had opportunities to record music for soundtracks for Fox movies when I was a teenager. So I've just always stuck with it. And I've built in like a lot of stability in my life around the music. So I'm just so thankful to have all these other great like business interests that just feed that like uber intellectual side of me. Because like with anything that's, performing or artistic, sometimes it's going to get real discouraging. I'm glad that I have a way to like shift my mental energy to something different if I'm just like really frustrated about music. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go work for Fender today, and I'm just going to focus on that like 1,000%. And I'm going to get my mind off of whatever is bothering me. But, ironically enough, it was during my lunch break at Fender, like, I guess 9 months ago now, that I got a call from a casting director at I Can See Your Voice out of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. I had auditioned and been selected for pilots that of other singing shows that were happening. I booked one, but I couldn't do it because I booked another gig literally like the day before that conflicted. But they remembered me, and they called me and said that they thought I would be a good fit. And so this was March. This was, right before everything shut down. And I did my interview with the team, and then I didn't hear anything, obviously, because like everything was halted. And then I think it was in like late June, early July that I got a call back, and they said, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it safely. There was no audience. The audience that you see on the TV show is fake. It's brought to you by modern technology. So I just have nothing but good things to say about the show. Just the fact that I was able to sing and tap dance at the same time, and combine my two loves for, people to see on national television was a literal dream. I didn't know what my pseudonym, my secret voice pseudonym, I didn't know what it was going to be until they called me a few weeks in, and they said, "You're going to be the tap dancer." And I was like, oh my God, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm like tapping on national television? And sure enough, that's what I did. So I got to work with the most incredible choreographers on the show. Shout out to Dom Kelly, who also just choreographed Mariah Carey's like big Christmas special with Ariana Grande and Jennifer Hudson. He's a genius and one of the best tappers out there. So I just had the best support during the shooting, and I felt so confident with, my performance. And, so when I got up onto the stage, I could just lose myself in the moment, which is the best thing as a performer. But I've been so overwhelmed by the fans, because the fans of the show are the best. They're not negative, like they're super positive, they're supportive. They're always just kind of like building all the singers up. And even the people that are non-singers on the show, they're just being positive, and I appreciate that. And, one thing I have to say about the show as well is that I love how it's structured. So just to kind of give a rundown of what I Can See Your Voice is and how it works. You have 6 secret voices on each episode. Each one has a pseudonym. So mine was the tap dancer. And then on my episode, we also had the chef, the fashion designer, the phlebotomist, the karaoke king, and the knight. And so there are celebrity detectives that have to help a contestant determine who the good singers are and who the bad singers are. The goal is to eliminate all the bad singers that you can. The contestant wins $10,000 each bad singer that's eliminated. The goal is to have a good singer at the end, because each episode has a music superstar My music superstar on episode 4 was Pat Monahan of Train. I am the biggest fan of him. He's a big influence of mine. So Pat was left standing with one secret voice at the end, and it just so happened that secret voice was a good singer, which is what you want. So prior to all of us knowing that on the set, the contestant, before that final reveal of the last person, has to decide if they're going to keep their winnings or risk it all. And she actually decided to risk it all and bet that it was going to be a good singer. And she was right. So she won $100,000. And, her story is so touching because, she has a little daughter. She's a single mom. She wanted to use the money to invest in a house for them and to invest in her own business. So I still keep in touch with the contestant. Her name is Siley, from my episode. We've chatted on social media. I just think that she's really great. She makes these cute little videos with her daughter. But it was, I Can See Your Voice. It's just a very supportive environment for artists. And if your cast is a good singer on the show, what's different from other reality shows out there is that no matter what, you're going to have a positive ending. Even if they don't think that you're a singer and then you get eliminated, they're all going to find out that you can sing anyway. That's the beautiful part about the show, is that it's always positive for the singer.
And I love hearing all about that, especially, I gotta say, I gotta commend you with the young blood. You blew the roof off the house and you did a phenomenal job. And I could not and I was just watching your clip before we had our conversation, and seeing Andrea by Law and Houghton was like, and then also here, and also seeing the panel, like seeing that panel. If I remember correctly, wasn't it? Oh, Bob Saget. Bob Saget was shocked. And then also, not to mention, Yvette Nicole Brown, I could see her. She was not happy. But however, what was your reaction to the panel after you performed that song?
So that's actually the best story. I'll actually say that one more time. I think that my phone went off. Turning my volume down. Okay, I'll start my answer now. The reaction of the panel was the best part, because I was just ready to just show them that I really could sing, because there's a lot of like jokes that happen before, and they doubt you and they see you lip sync and they're like, oh no, she just can't sing. And Yvette Nicole Brown was so sure. So was Bob Saget. So was Adrian. And the person that was really like fighting for me and thought that I really was a singer, that was Pat Monahan. And he was trying to tell them the whole time, but that wasn't like aired necessarily. So, shout out to Pat for doing that. But, I just loved, all the shocked looks on their faces, because I was like, I'm going to tap and now I'm going to sing for you. And it was so wild. I would have to say that I really didn't get to enjoy the shocked reactions until I watched it all back. Because in the moment, you're just like trying to focus on performing. And then, they just said so many nice things to me after my performance. A lot of which, like, there's not enough time to like air everything. But, Yvette Nicole Brown said, oh, if you had like spoken, then like we would have like known that the lip sync voice was your voice too. Because I have a very low speaking voice, and my that kind of carries over into my singing voice as well. And then Adrienne was like, she's like, honestly, she's like, the lip sync vocal was too good. She's like, I didn't think it could have been like, you. And then Bob said my tapping feet were a decoy. I think that's like one of my favorite jokes that he's made on the show, because it's so true. And Yvette Nicole Brown was just she was like one of my biggest doubters in the beginning, and then she just like supported me so hardcore at the end there. And that's stuff that people saw air, like where she was like, yes you are, that was stunning, I'm stunned. And Ken Jeong is an incredible person. It goes without saying that he attracts other really good people and surrounds himself with just positivity. He created a really good environment for all the singers and artists on the show. And for that, I have to thank him so much. And he knows because I'm very vocal about it. He actually tweeted back at me after my episode aired. And, you know, this is probably the best compliment anybody's ever given me, like ever. He called me a genius, and he said that he couldn't wait to see my star soar. And, you know, that means a lot coming from him because I have a lot of respect for Ken and his work, and he's so talented. And, you know, Ken's journey is so unique, and, you know, that he used to be a doctor, and then he really just like took a leap of faith and went, you know, all in for, you know, with comedy and acting. And I just have a lot of respect for that.
I gotta say, Ken Jeong has been really great, especially with I Can See Your Voice and The Masked Singer, and then The Masked Dancer. So Ken Jeong is definitely the cheerleader for this era of Fox.
Totally. I am all about Ken's Day. I live tweet every time that there's an I Can See Your Voice episode because I like to guess too. And I don't know if I want to reveal my secret to guessing. No, I guess I should. I will, just to see if it works with other people as well. So this is how I make my guesses every week. I look at the profile photos of each secret voice for the episode on social media. So it's usually posted on Instagram or Twitter before the episode. And I look deeply into their eyes and their expression. And I ask myself, is this the face of somebody who is having one of the best days of their life? Because if it does look like that, then they're a singer. And it's been working, because here's the thing. Like, I remember when I went in for my photo shoot day, and, you know, after everything that had gone on in 2020, I was just like, I can't believe I'm here right now. I'm just so lucky to have this opportunity. And this is one of the coolest days of my life. And, you know, I think that really translates to people's eyes. It's mainly like the eyes. And every time that I trust my gut on my first impression of that photo, I've been getting 5 out of 6 right every single episode.
That's incredible. That is so incredible.
But it's like a psychological thing, you know?
It is. I Can See Your Voice, and I loved your passion for it. But we got to talk about your music. We got to talk about Shine earlier. So what is the story behind that song?
So Shine was written as a love letter to my younger self. I wrote it with this other really awesome, dynamic woman in music, Maria Gironis. And, you know, I talked about my background in the music industry at a really young age. And Shine is quite literally, you know, me reflecting on young Heather and, you know, how I've transitioned into the full-grown artist that I've become. And I'm here to support women and provide a positive and optimistic message to the world. And, you know, Shine is about really embracing your inner beauty, you know, whatever that means to you, whether it's like your mental state or, you know, how you see yourself and how you project that to the world. It's everything I wish I could have told my younger self years ago. And it's really touched a lot of women, and just like everybody like around the world is just positive. They're like, we really need this message right now. And I'm just so grateful for the response. I mean, all an artist can really hope or wish for is that, you know, you put out a message into the world and that it resonates with people.
Awesome. So who are some of your dream collaborators, the singers, the songwriters, the producers, and how would they enhance your sound, Heather?
Oh my goodness. Well, I have a bunch of secret voices that I'm going to be collaborating with. So stay tuned for that. That would be, I mean, that's just going to be so much fun. Actually, the other day on my holiday live stream, I collaborated with Elyachar, who is the pop princess on episode 5. So a lot more of that coming soon. But as far as like big, like stars, I mean, a lot of my influences, like Kelly Clarkson, I feel like I have a lot of the same power and energy and like emotion in my vocal. I would say the same thing about Pink. I think Pink's an awesome songwriter. Like, I would love to write a song with Pink. That would be so incredible. I'd love to sing with Pat Monahan, honestly. I'm a big fan of Train. I was so close to doing it too.
I would have loved to have seen you perform with Pat Monahan. Like, one of my favorites, like Drops to Jupiter or Angel in Blue Jeans. You guys would go with those 2 songs or Drive By. That would have been fun.
drive by, and it's just, I grew up on train stuff. I love train music, and that's very like in my genre, where it's like it's rock, but there's like some like blues influences and some of the stuff that has pop influences, even some like country, like a little bit. It's kind of very similar to my mix of genres.
Awesome. So I have a couple more questions before we wrap up our conversation. So what are some of your favorite social media platforms? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and how do they stand out?
I love Instagram. I love Reels because I'm a tap dancer. So Reels are all about entertaining people. And so I've been doing a lot of tap dance videos for everybody. People just really like to watch people tap dance. A really great platform for that as well is TikTok. The other day I posted a clip of my Youngblood elimination song video, and overnight it got like 60,000 views, like out of nowhere. And I like literally just joined TikTok. And people were just like, what is the show? What is the show? Like, I need to watch it. And, it's cool that more people are discovering I Can See Your Voice. But I think those are my top two right now. And Twitter for live tweeting about the show, because that's one of my favorite pastimes now.
Awesome. So if you had the opportunity to meet with aspiring singer-songwriters who want to work in the recording industry, what advice would you share with them?
I would say go at it for the long haul. There are plenty of people that get into this industry for 2 years and then stop because they get discouraged, or they're like, I'm not cut out for it. It's like, you got to believe in yourself and bring your own brand of creativity to everything that you do, and just stick with it, because this is a marathon, not a sprint.
I totally agree with that. Now, where can my audience find your music and also find clips of you from I Can See Your Voice?
Okay, so you can find my music on Instagram at Heather Youmans, Youmans. You can also check out my website, which is www.heatheryoumans.com. And then also follow me on Spotify if you want to get like all those notifications for new releases, because I will be putting out new music in 2021, and hopefully a really cool cover of Youngblood. That's like something that I'm really hoping for.
I really want to hear that cover.
Yeah, I feel like so many of the fans have requested it. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see when that comes. But those are all the places. And I really hope to connect with anybody that's listening.
Awesome. Now, for more information of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, you can watch on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Once again, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. We've had a fabulous year of guests from America's Got Talent alumni, from Songland, from The Big Brother, and American Idol. So we had a lot of great voices, and you are just add to the top of it, Heather.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. And also, guys, feel free to visit jakes-take.com for more interviews. And also, if you're on social media, visit me at Jacob Elyachar at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Thank you guys very much for listening, and have a fantastic day.